In this video, I will show how to set up Active Directory from scratch on a Windows server on a virtual machine. We will be adding roles and features such as Active Directory domain services, DNS server, remote access, group policy management, etc. In this video, I will show step-by-step process on how to install VMware Workstation Pro, how to install Windows Server 2022 in virtual machine, how to install Active Directory tools on Windows Server. We will also have activity on basic AD setup like creating OUs, accounts, etc. I will also explain Active Directory concepts like OU, differences between group scopes and group types. The links to download the VMware and Windows Server will be posted in the description. I have already downloaded both VMware and Windows Server 2022, so let's get started. So after downloading both your files, click on VMware Workstation Full, run this executable file, click yes. Click next, accept, next, next, next. Yeah, select if you want your apps to appear in the desktop. Click next, install. Okay, now that it has finished installing, click Finish, run your VMware Workstation Pro, double click on it, create new virtual machine, typical is fine, next, and click on I will install operating system later, next, select Windows Server 2022 from the drop-down list, click next, click next. I'm going to assign about 20 GB of hard disk storage for my virtual machine. Finish. Should appear here. And if you want to give more memory or processing power, then you can assign it by clicking it. I'm going to give about 4 GB of RAM, and for processor I'm going to give 4. Click on OK, so it has changed now. So click on CD DVD SATA. Click on Use ISO image file, browse. So select the Windows Server 2022 ISO file where you downloaded it from. Okay, so now what you're going to do is power on the virtual machine. Okay, it's going to load your file. Next, install now. At the moment, the performance seems to be a bit laggy and it doesn't match the resolution even if you maximize the virtual machine. But later on, after you have done installing your Windows Server 2022, we can install additional features so that the performance will get better, and I will show you that. So into this step, this is more crucial and it's more important as well. So you have to click the Windows Server 2022 Standard Evaluation Desktop Experience one. If you don't select this one, you will not get the graphical interface version. So make sure you select this one, the Desktop Experience one. Click Next. Yeah, accept. Next. Custom install. That's the allocated space which we gave earlier. Next. And this is going to take a while, and once it's installed, I'm going to be back. Okay, type in the password for the administrator. We're gonna be keeping the password consistent throughout this video series. So we're gonna be putting a password of password1, which is not ideal in the real world, but just for the sake of our virtual machine, we're gonna just put in password1. Okay, finish. Okay, click here, type in a password. I'll let it load. Okay. All right. So it looks like it has loaded, but it looks like like we have like a performance issue. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna click here, VM, and we're gonna click here, install VMware tools. Okay. Click here. Oops. Click here. Run setup 64-bit. Yeah. Next. Typical is fine. Next. Install. So this is going to install. After this is installed, you're going to have like a much better performance issue, and the resolution is going to change. Okay, so we have to restart the PC after this. Yep, restart. Okay, click on this button here. Let it load. Okay, now that it's been loaded, now what we're gonna do is we're gonna add roles and feature. Click this link here. Next, next, next. So over here, we're gonna select the roles which we require. So we're gonna need Active Directory Domain Services. We're going to click on that one. Click Add Features. We're going to click on the DNS. We're going to need this feature as well. Continue. And we're going to need Remote Access. Yep. Next. And make sure you have clicked on Group Policy Management, because we're going to be using this one as well. Next. 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 Select Routing. Add features. Next, next, next. Yep, and then install it. It's going to take a bit of a time, and once it's installed, I'm going to be back again. Okay, looks like it has completed its installation. So the next step, what we're going to do is we're going to promote this server to a domain controller. Now this is very important because we are setting this server as a domain controller, as we are doing everything from the scratch. So click on this, promote this server to a domain controller. We're going to click on this one, add a new forest, and we're going to type in our domain name. I'm going to type in as blackrain.local. Next. Okay, click on. So we're going to type in the password just to be consistent. We're going to be using the same password of password1. Please don't do it in your organization. It's not a very good password practice, but just for the sake of our virtual machine, we're going to be consistent with our password. So we're going to type in the same password of password1. Okay, next, next. So that's our domain, Black Rain. Next. Click on next. Next. And install. It's going to take a bit of a time, so once it's installed, I'm going to be back. Okay, close. So it's going to restart it. Close, close. Okay, now we should be able to log in. Now you can see that you are using the domain which you had named earlier plus the admin accounts. In my case, this is Black Rain. So let's go ahead and type in the password. Okay, so now we can use the Active Directory users and computers. Click on the Start button here. Go to Windows Administrative Tools and click on Active Directory users and computers. So now you can see you have a domain in here, which is the local domain that we named earlier. And if you click on the drop down in here, you will see the built-in OUs. These are all the built-in OUs. So basically OU means organizational unit, and it's like a container which contains different kinds of objects such as users, groups, servers, computers, and these objects are under one organizational unit. So it's like a container or like a folder that has all different objects like files, for example, when you think about a Windows folder. So it's basically the same concept. So now we're going to create our very first OU. Click on the Black Rain domain, right click on it, click on new, and click on the organizational unit. We're going to name this OU the Europe. So click on OK. So you can create OU within an OU as well. So let's create an OU for computer where you can put all of your computer asset you have. So right click on it, new. Sorry, that's new. And organizational unit. So let's create computer. Let's create another OU for users as well under Europe. New organizational unit, users, click on OK, and let's create the final one. Let's name it service. Click on OK. So the next activity will be to create different groups under these OUs. In an organization, there are many different departments, for example, HR, finance, IT, etc. So let's create a group for IT. And let's create it under the users. Right click on it, new, and then the group. Let's name it IT. As you can see in here, there are different options for group scope and group types in here. So I'm going to discuss what differences between those options are and which one you should select for the group that you are creating. Okay, so there are three different options for group scope. We have universal, global, and domain local. Typically we use global because this is the group that we can use that can be used within the same domain. For example, if I select global group scope in here, which is this one over here, this IT group can be used under the Black Rain local domain. It can be accessed by anything that's under this Black Rain local domain. You see this one over here, the Black Rain local, so that's the one. The universal goes to different domains, so it has more access. Let's say if I have 2 domains in here other than the BlackRain domain, it can also be accessed by other domain outside the BlackRain. Okay, so let's talk about the group types. We have 2 in here. One of them is called security group and the other one is called distribution group. Security groups are used to assign permissions to shared resources, and it also has 2 types, which is the user rights, and you can also assign permissions. So this is the group that you create if you want to give permissions to shared resources. You can create a security group that just assigns user rights or assigns permission. Those are the 2 kinds or types that you can do with security group. The other one is called the distribution group. It is not for giving access or giving permission. This is usually used for email distribution lists to send emails to collection or group of people. So this is an email list where we give users membership on what email list they can receive. So it is really important to understand the group scope and group type when you are creating a group. So here in this example, it is going to be a security group type because it is going to give users rights to only the IT departments. Okay, so let's create another group where create a group, and we're going to create a distribution group for this one for the IT admins. So basically this is going to be an email that will be received by all the IT staffs. Click on OK. So let's create now the users. Click on new and click on user. So type in any name and last name. So I'm going to name it Harry Wilson. So it's going to be H- Wilson. Click next. So and for the sake of keeping the password consistent for virtual machine, I'm going to just type in password 1. And select this one here. Password never expires. Okay, we won't do it in the real organization for the sake of the virtual machine. Is fine. So click next, finish. So now with this login detail, h.wilson as h-wilson, the user will be able to log into their system. So that's it for this video, and in the next video I'll be talking about group policy object, how to create and implement GPOS. So see you in the next video.